Hey everyone, welcome to The Raw Edge. I'm Sid Ryan. Today we're tackling a big idea, one that could reshape the entire federal election and will no doubt be controversial in some quarters. We are living in abnormal times with Donald Trump vowing to destroy Canada's economy, putting hundreds of thousands of Canadians out of work, with the ultimate goal of eventually annexing Canada. Meanwhile, we have Pierre Poilievre, our own little mini Trump, who is poised to win the election and bring even more chaos to our doorstep. He's been cheered on by the likes of Donald Trump, JD Vance, Elon Musk, and our own homegrown traitors, Jordan Peterson and Kevin O'Leary. I'll be honest, I'm deeply worried about the ability of any political party to stop Poilievre from becoming the next Prime Minister of Canada. I'm not convinced that the Liberal vote is as strong as the polls are suggesting. The NDP vote is cratering at 11%, according to one poll, and they're in serious danger of losing official party status. And so I'm proposing a limited, one-time electoral pact between the Liberals and the NDP to stop this Conservative juggernaut. Here's the details of my proposal. In the 2019 elections, Canada data shows the Conservatives won 50 seats, where the combined Liberal NDP vote was far greater than the Conservative vote. These were 50 seats the Conservatives basically snatched because of vote splitting. I'm suggesting a one-time agreement where in those 50 key ridings, the weaker party steps aside. And in the other 293 ridings, the parties can basically fight it out as they've always done. An agreement along the lines that I'm suggesting could flip most of those ridings if the plan was properly executed. With enough votes shifting, the end result could be the Liberals would pick up at least 33 extra seats, and the NDP could pick up 17 seats. Here is one good example where a minor shift in the votes defeats the Conservative. In Port Moody, Coquitlam in BC, the Conservative won 34.8% of the vote, the NDP got 34% of the vote, and the Liberal got 25%. The combined Liberal NDP vote was basically 60%, more than enough to win that riding. In Quebec, the Conservatives basically stole 7 seats because the NDP and the Liberals split the vote. The NDP finished second in all of those 7 ridings. Now, with a pact that the NDP would sign, they could reclaim a very strong foothold in Quebec. Now let's zoom out. Even before Trump's tariff tantrums and Trudeau's resignation, Poilievre's Conservatives were crushing it. Mid-2024 polls from Nanos and Angus Reid had them winning between 200 and 220 seats. A massive majority. The Liberals were tanking with around 50 seats, and the NDP at that time were hovering at around 20 seats. Progressives know what a Poilievre government means. He's been parroting Trump's agenda for years, stealing his slogans, mimicking his bad behaviours, Elon Musk's attack on government workers. Poilievre himself wants to act 100,000 government jobs.
Liberals, they have, for example, added 100,000 public servants. I'll be reducing the number of bureaucrats.
And Trump's endgame is to destroy Canada's economy, the manufacturing, resource, lumber, energy sectors, until we're weak enough to become the 51st state.
When you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, rah. What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state, our 51st state. So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet.
He calls the border an artificial line drawn up in 1909, and with 80% of Canadians living within 100 miles of the border, his madness has a method. This election isn't just another vote. Canada's first past the post electoral system is brutally undemocratic. Majority governments can be formed with less than 40% of the vote. In 2019, the Conservatives got 34% of the vote, the Liberals got 33%, and yet they formed a government. Today's poll shows Poilievre sitting at between 37 and 39%, the Liberals at around 39%, and the NDP as low as 11%. That's roughly 10 to 14 seats for the NDP, almost below official party status. A pact could save them, flipping enough seats to keep them alive. Look, at the end of the day, we all know what the long-term solution is. And that is to get rid of this abomination we have of a first-past-the-post electoral system. Canada is in desperate need of a proportional representation system, much like most democracies around the world. Let's use the results of this campaign to force the issue of PR back onto the political agenda. It is long past time when political parties need to take stock of where they run their candidates. It makes absolutely no sense to use precious resources in a riding where the party has no hope of winning, but splits the vote and allows the fox into the henhouse. My suggestion is not just about blocking Poilievre, it's about making votes match the seats. Without it, Poilievre could win a majority with just 36% of the vote, shredding social programmes that the NDP have fought decades to win. Trump's threats only make this plan even more urgent. Purists might call this heresy. Better to lose nobly than compromise, they will say. But my response is, if the NDP loses party status, they're powerless to help anyone. Poilievre made his plans perfectly clear. He's going to gut services, cozy up to Trump's vision of the world. We can stick to the old playbook, watch Poilievre win and see the NDP fade into oblivion, or we can get bold and do something about it. The polls say Mark Carney is reversing the Liberal poll numbers, but history tells and shows us new leaders can surge then crash. Think of Kim Campbell and John Turner. Carney may be no different. A pact isn't perfect, but it's a lifeline. It could stop a Conservative majority, protect what we've built, and give progressives a fighting chance. So there's examples out there across the world where political parties are actually conserving their resources and putting them into winnable ridings instead of splitting the vote and letting the right of centre candidates come up the middle and steal elections. You've been watching The Raw Edge with Sid Ryan.